As you get into your data collection process, I wanted to show an example of a few appendices that might give you some ideas about how you include some of the instruments and the codes that you use for your qualitative research, how you'll include that in your own work. So here there's an example of the first appendix by this particular researcher, and you'll notice here at the top this person has the title, has the running head, the first few words, I would say the first 5 words of the title in all uppercase, just as appears throughout the entire document, as well as the page numbers. Then Appendix A. So Appendix A will be a level 1 heading, and I would use the corresponding level 1 style that I discussed, I think, in a prior video. And then here you're going to use a level 2 style, and this will be the title of the actual appendix. In this case, this is an observation instrument, and so you want to include the title as a level 2 heading here. And then I would include information of the university, the department, and the BA, and then whatever else that you would include in the observation instrument. Of course, this would only apply for those who are using an observation, which in our case would be most of you. Let's go on to the second appendix. If you have an interview guide, very, very similar in formats from the first example that we saw. The third appendix, this is the informed consent form. Now you might be curious about the order in which these appendices appear, and you want to respect the order that you mention these instruments in your text. So the first time you mention one of these, that's the order in which they will appear in your appendix. Most of this will be included in the method section. Again, just depends on if you mentioned anything that you want to include in your appendix in the lit review. For most of you, you will not include anything, you won't mention anything in the appendix from your lit review. Again, most of you will be referencing these from the method section. So Appendix D, in this case, the student was researching communicative strategies, and so here's a list. Appendix E, now this is the code book, and we're going to be talking more about how to code and going through that process. But this is an example of the code book that you will all include, those of you who are doing qualitative research, where you're coding information and you're quantifying this information. This is an example of the code book, and this is basically the inverse of how you will work. So many of you will begin with, for example, in this case, the activities, for example, role plays, improvise, describing, debates. These will be generated first. Then from these codes you'll have categories. In this case, activities might be a category, encourage use, that might be another category, and then from there go to themes, in this case promotion. This is kind of an inductive approach where you start with the specific codes, then move to categories, then on to themes or even theories if you go a fourth cycle. These are called cycles. So the first cycle again would be the coding process. These are codes. Second cycle would be the categories, and then the third cycle would be themes, and possibly a fourth cycle might include theories. So you're probably going to have anywhere from 3 to 4 cycles throughout your process of coding and moving again from the specific to the general. So this is just to give you an example of what eventually your appendix section will look like. And you can find this sample by going to our shared folder and look for the file called Appendix Sample. If you do have any questions, feel free to email me or come by my office.